Something huge is already rearranging your life, and it started quietly. You didn't miss it. You felt it. A subtle electric charge under ordinary days, a small, persistent restlessness that won't be soothed by distraction, tiny coincidences that feel less like chance and more like a door nudging open. If this sounds like you, then congratulations. Your reality is shifting. Most people wait for trumpets. They expect drama, a full-stop moment that rewrites everything. That rarely happens. Real transformation begins as a whisper, an exhaustion that loosens your grip, a curiosity that won't be ignored, a slow softening of all the things you once held as truth. It looks like subtle change, not spectacle. Here's the first truth. Transformation shows up as both strain and possibility. You'll feel tired of old patterns and secretly excited about new ones. You'll notice repeating numbers, songs that mirror your inner voice, meetings that land exactly when you need them. These aren't coincidences, they're feedback. The field is responding to the frequency you're starting to broadcast. Now, the dangerous turn most people take is small and predictable: doubt. When synchronicities grow, many panic and convince themselves it's imagination, luck, or wishful thinking. That doubt is the opposite of courage. It's a familiar safety mechanism trying to keep you small. Your job isn't to silence the fear, it's to choose action despite it. This is the awakening phase. You're piecing together the meaning of past detours, the job you lost, the love that ended, the failure that felt final. Those were not punishments. They were training. They gave you strength under pressure, resilience that doesn't need applause, and wisdom forged in the dark. If your life had been easy, you wouldn't have grown into the person who can hold the next level. So, what's arriving isn't a single upgrade, not just more money or a new relationship. It's a full recalibration. You'll start living from certainty, not hope. You'll act from a place of inner alignment, attracting people and opportunities that match your frequency. Choices stop being guesses and become obvious. You won't be performing for approval. You'll move from inspiration, not desperation. But this doesn't mean comfort. Realignment requires release. You'll say goodbye to roles and relationships that no longer fit. You'll let go of habits that once protected you, but now limit you. That feels like loss even when it's liberation. Expect uncertainty. Expect moments when staying put looks safer. Those are tests, not errors, signals you're nearing something meaningful. There's another layer many miss, the protective part of you that kept you safe, the inner critic, the cautious voice, is not your enemy. It was doing its job when you needed it. Now it's outdated. The walls that once shielded you are doing the opposite. They're traps. The breakthrough isn't about defeating that part. It's about befriending it and choosing a new strategy. Something practical to watch for. Your natural strengths, the things you loved quietly, the skills others called hobbies, are not distractions. They're clues. Those effortless pulls might be your superpowers. Your earlier years of trying to fit conventional expectations were not wasted. They were preparation so you could choose differently now. The clarity you have today was earned by experiencing misalignment first. Here's how the field responds when you start aligning. Synchronicities increase, decisions simplify, your energy rises, and opportunities find you. That's not magic, it's coherence. When your inner world matches your outer action, you become a clear signal the universe can read. People show up with exactly the help you need. Doors open because you're no longer pushing against them. A quick engagement moment. Say it out loud or type it. I am opening to change. Don't make it casual. Give the line energy. Saying it is a tiny act that signals your nervous system and the field you're choosing forward motion. One more essential. Your breakthrough isn't only personal. The change you embody affects others. When you evolve, you make higher possibilities more accessible to everyone around you. Transformation tends to happen in clusters because coherent people act as amplifiers for the field. Your choice to step forward is service. It clears a path for people who don't yet realize they can follow. So, what do you do now? 3 simple moves. Notice the patterns. Keep a small list of synchronicities or recurring nudges. Take one small aligned action every day. Something that feels true, even if it scares you. Share one authentic signal publicly. A single word, a short comment, a private message to someone who mirrors your intention. Visibility accelerates change. If you're hearing this, you're not alone and you're not late. You're exactly where you need to be. On the edge, where courage meets possibility. Lean into the subtle signs, not away from them. Small, steady steps, taken from inner clarity, create outsized shifts. Now, breathe. Feel the charge again. Let the quiet knowing move you into a small action right now, even if it's just typing a single word that represents what you're choosing next. Say it, own it, and let the field rearrange itself around your decision. You're stepping into the 3 powerful waves of transformation, and each one has its own texture, its own tests, and its own gifts. Knowing how they feel will keep you from mistaking the storm for failure. It will help you stay steady when everything seems to be collapsing, and it will help you recognize that the collapse is actually clearing space for something larger. Wave 1 is dissolution. Picture an old house being decommissioned so a new one can be built. The first cracks are loud and unsettling. Habits, roles, and relationships that once gave you structure begin to feel brittle. The job that paid the bills no longer pays you in meaning. The friendships that felt automatic no longer resonate. Comfort turns to constraint. Dissolution is not punishment. It's creative demolition. Letting go here is harvesting clarity. The friction you feel is the house making room for the architecture of your next life. Wave 2 is the void. This is the place most people fear because it feels empty and directionless. But void is not a vacuum. It's potential in gestation. The old scripts have dissolved, but the new narrative hasn't yet written itself. In the void, you learn to tolerate not knowing without panic. You practice listening instead of reacting. You learn to rest inside questions instead of racing for answers. This phase is where raw possibility coalesces, the silent labor before visible form. Wave 3 is integration, slow, surprising, and deep. Here the new self begins to anchor. New decisions feel right faster. Relationships recalibrate. Opportunities land that fit like a tailored coat. Integration is where coherence shows up as reality. The things you've been training to hold, emotional steadiness, clarity, discipline, finally sustain bigger outcomes. Integration turns insight into lifestyle. But these waves don't arrive in tidy order. They spiral. You'll dissolve in one life domain while integrating in another. You'll surface from the void briefly, then sink back, then surface again. Each cycle refining rather than failing. This spiraling protects you from overwhelm. It gives you time to grow into the capacities the new life requires. Resistance will appear, from inside you and from around you. Expect it, and you'll stop mistaking it for a message to quit. Internal resistance wears many faces. The inner critic that questions your readiness, the practical part that insists on more proof, the nostalgic part that romanticizes familiarity. These parts protected you once. Treat them with gratitude, not war. Ask them what they need to feel safe while you expand, and then proceed anyway. External resistance is real too. People and systems calibrated to your old frequency will test your new one. You might encounter more friction at work, a friend who withdraws, or a process that suddenly stalls. These are not random punishments. They're feedback loops. The field is rebalancing itself because you've shifted. When you understand this, obstacles become signposts rather than stop signs. This is where quantum coherence matters most. Coherence means your inner map and your outward movement match. When your beliefs, intentions, emotions, and actions align, your life stops leaking energy into noise. Choices sharpen, energy returns. Synchronicities multiply. Because you're emitting a clear signal the field can read without interference. Coherence is the practical skill of breakthrough. It's what turns a spiritual insight into measurable results. A real-world image to anchor. Imagine 2 radios. One is tuned precisely, the other hovers between stations. The tuned radio delivers music clearly and consistently. The one in between plays static and fragments. Your job is to tune. Small daily practices are the dial. The clearer you become, the less static, and the more your life plays the music you actually want to hear. Let's talk about relationships because this is where breakthroughs get socially tested. The people who love the old you may feel threatened by the new you. That reaction is normal and not personal. Your growth will naturally separate your circle. Some will rise with you, others will hold you from behind. That separation is not abandonment, it's refinement. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to apologize for becoming larger. Your job is to be clear, kind, and uncompromisingly honest about who you are becoming. There will also be new people, allies, mentors, and co-creators who are magnetized to your new frequency and arrive exactly when you need them. Treat these arrivals like intelligence from the field. Pay attention. Open your hands. Don't cling. Mutual resonance, not dependency, will allow these relationships to accelerate your integration. Now, let's crack open 2 essential practices that change everything when you use them consistently: small alignment actions and visible fidelity. Small alignment actions are daily micro-commitments that keep your energy coherent. They're tiny decisions made from clarity. A 5-minute pause before answering an email, a short boundary that preserves your creative time, an honest sentence you speak instead of a habitual lie you've been telling. They seem minor until you add them up. These micro-choices rewire your identity from the inside out. Visible fidelity is about publicly stating what you intend to anchor. When you make small, authentic declarations, 1 word, 1 sentence, 1 video, you create a field signature. Visibility doesn't mean grandiosity. It means consistency. It means letting your intention be witnessable. This is how private consciousness becomes public signal. It's how the field responds faster. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Declare small, act daily, and let the field align around your visible fidelity. Here's a practical coherence check you can use right now as you listen. Where do I feel the most friction today? Name it. Where do I feel the most ease? Name it. You don't need to solve everything in one sitting. Naming creates an energy break. Clarity moves ambiguity out of the driver's seat. If you can, speak 1 small aligned action aloud, a sentence that begins with, "Today I will," and mean it. That sentence rewires probability. Remember, every challenge you faced was training for this moment. The storms taught you endurance. The failures taught you discernment. The losses taught you to rely on your inner compass. You are not being punished by these tests. You are being prepared. This perspective doesn't erase pain, but it reframes it. Pain becomes evidence of growth, not proof of inability. Finally, let's honor the ripple. Your coherence stabilizes others. When you live with integrity, when you choose courage over comfort, you alter the field for people you may never meet. This is the humble magnificence of breakthrough. Your life becomes permission for others to be more. It is service by being. You don't have to strategize how to save the world. You simply have to be the signal that makes a different world possible. Breathe now and take in the sensation of possibility without rushing to fix it. Trust the spirals. Do 1 small aligned action today. Make 1 visible, true statement about who you're becoming. Those tiny data points add up. They are the architecture of the new life taking shape around you. You're now entering the part of the journey where influence and responsibility show up, and they look less like destiny and more like daily practice. When you become coherent, you don't just shift your own life, you alter the probability field around you. Think of yourself as a magnet. As you clear your signal, other elements of the system begin to orient around you. People make better choices in your presence. Opportunities that once slipped by now find you. You become what complexity theorists call a strange attractor, a stabilizing pattern in chaotic systems. That's not ego talk. It's physics applied to living. With that influence comes quantum responsibility. Your thoughts, words, and small habitual moves carry greater weight. This isn't pressure to be perfect. It's an invitation to be deliberate. When you choose alignment over autopilot, your life becomes a template others can access. When you model courage, you lower the activation energy for someone else's first brave step. That's service through presence. But service requires discernment. Not every person should be brought into your new orbit, and not every cause deserves your full bandwidth. Fierce compassion is the skill you need. Love people enough to refuse to enable their limitations. But don't assume you must fix everyone's trajectory. Hold your boundaries. Say no when your yes would be diluted. Protect your frequency like a garden. Prune where necessary, so what remains can flourish. Here are 3 daily practices that create coherence and amplify your influence. The 5-minute frequency check. Each morning, take 5 minutes to notice tone, intention, and energy. Close your eyes. Ask, what frequency am I broadcasting? Then adjust 1 small thing, posture, breath, a recalibration phrase like, I move from clarity. This micro-check prevents old habits from hijacking your day. The visible nudge, once per week, make 1 small public sign of your truth, a comment, a short post, a voice note, a one-word declaration. Visibility aligns inner commitment with social reality. It's not attention-seeking, it's field tuning. The field responds to witness. The boundary ritual. Choose one recurring energy drain. A meeting, a social pattern, a habitual scroll session, and replace it with a protective boundary. Say no, shorten the interaction, or schedule it where it won't steal your creative hours. Boundaries conserve coherence. Now, a quick test. Where are you confusing movement with motion? Saying you're busy isn't the same as being productive toward your breakthrough. Check the result. Are the choices you make actually creating forward momentum, or are they numbing you into activity? The field rewards decisive action more than frenetic distraction. Let's talk legacy for a moment, because this part is powerful and often overlooked. When you change your frequency, you don't just alter your timeline, you shift the probabilities for your lineage. Choosing courage over fear creates a field of courage that your descendants can access. Healing in the present moves through quantum time to rewrite patterns that have repeated for generations. That's not mystical. It's a practical reason to treat your breakthrough as service, not indulgence. Expect test runs. At crucial inflection points, the field will present you with temptations. Easy money that compromises integrity. An old relationship that promises comfort but not growth. Invitations that shrink you back to familiar roles. These are calibration offers, tests that reveal whether you're aligned or merely performing alignment. Answer them by asking, does this increase my coherence or decrease it? If it decreases it, it's a soft no. If it increases it, move. There will be mistakes. Integration isn't perfection, it's course correcting. When you fall back into old patterns, name it, forgive yourself quickly, and choose one aligned action to reset your trajectory. Small corrections compound into a whole new life. Now, create a tiny public anchor. Drop one word in the comments that holds your current commitment. Make it simple. Courage, presence, freedom, make it personal, heal, start, release. That single word becomes an energetic signature. It's a visible marker in the field that tells the universe, and you, what you're prioritizing. Share this with one person who might need permission to change. Don't over-explain. Send the link and say, thought you might resonate. That tiny act of diffusion increases the field coherence around both of you. Finally, if you're feeling the pull to go deeper, give yourself a short, manageable ritual this week. 3 mornings of the 5-minute frequency check, 1 visible nudge, and 1 boundary ritual. Track the results in a single sentence each evening. Today, I shifted by. That sentence is data. Over 7 days, patterns emerge. Over 30, momentum builds. You're not creating a new life in a single heroic leap. You're rewiring a system with small, intentional acts repeated until they become identity. Influence compounds. Responsibility clarifies. Coherence amplifies. Say the word that anchors you now. Then do one small, aligned thing. That's how worlds begin. Quantum time changes everything. Instead of seeing life as a straight line, past arrow, present arrow, future, imagine a web of possibilities where a single, clear choice in the present pulls a new strand into place and reshapes what came before and what's coming next. That's quantum time in action. It's why decisive, aligned choices often feel both sudden and inevitable. They were always possible. You were just the final instrument that collapsed the wave into a particular outcome. This is practical, not mystical. When you decide from clarity, the world starts rearranging itself to match that decision. Doors stop being random, they become responses. People who once seemed distant appear with useful offers. Problems you feared dissolve or transform into opportunities. That's the field aligning to a coherent signal. So, how do you intentionally operate inside quantum time? Here are 3 clear, repeatable moves that actually change probability. Make one sharp interior decision daily. Not a vague wish, a single sentence that you feel. Example, today I choose my voice. Or, today I prioritize creative work. Feel it, say it, hold it. The specificity collapses, scatter into direction. Anchor the decision publicly, simply. Visibility is a quick accelerator. Post a 1-line status, send 1 message, or tell 1 person. Not for likes, for witness. Saying it out loud wires your nervous system and signals the field. The more ordinary the public act, the less ego-driven it is, and the more magnetic it becomes. Take one immediate aligned micro-action. If your decision is, I choose my voice, your micro-action might be a 5-minute voice memo to a collaborator or a 200-word draft of an idea you've been avoiding. The action doesn't need to be large. It needs to be authentic and prompt. Momentum accrues in small, authentic moves, not perfect plans. Now, a reality check. When you shift, the environment will test you. Systems that used to support your old rhythm may resist. Friends might mirror your discomfort. Jobs and processes might become stubborn. That resistance is a sign you're calibrating to a higher frequency, not failing. Reframe friction as feedback and answer with coherence, not reactivity. Let's drill into a powerful everyday practice I call the 3-minute coherence reset. Use this whenever you feel scattered or stuck. Minute 0 to 1. Breathe and drop into the body. Notice where tension sits. Minute 1 to 2. Name the frequency you want to emit in short phrase form, 1 or 2 words. Example: clarity, presence, courage. Minute 2 to 3. Take one small physical action that honors that frequency. Stand up, close a tab, write a sentence, send one text, then release. That 3-minute loop recalibrates your nervous system and signals the field. Do it between meetings, before calls, or when a sticky feeling rises. Repeat it until it becomes a reflex. Another practical principle: trade intended outcomes for directional fidelity. Most people obsess over specific results and stall. Directional fidelity means you choose the vector, the general direction of your life, and then make daily choices that keep you on that vector. Results are emergent. Fidelity is what you can control. The field rewards fidelity more than frantic goal chasing because fidelity creates consistent energy. Now, let's speak plainly about identity work. Your breakthrough requires a subtle but consequential upgrade of identity language. Right now, you may say things like, I'm someone who can't finish projects, or I'm not good with money. And those statements tune the field to limitation. Shift language to statements of possibility that still feel believable. I'm becoming someone who finishes projects, or I am learning new ways to manage money. Small linguistic updates change neural pathways and change what you broadcast. Here's a tiny experiment to accelerate that shift. For 3 days, notice every I am sentence you say or type. Each time you catch a limiting I am, immediately follow it with one new I am that points toward the next version of yourself. This simple habit reprograms identity in low-effort, high-repetition ways. Community matters. Breakthroughs accelerate in networks of people who understand the process. If your current circle keeps normalizing your old frequency, seek one new person this month who reflects your next level clarity. It can be a peer, a mentor, or an online group. Don't overcommit. Invite one authentic conversation. The presence of a witness who sees your future self makes that future more probable. Now, a social virality-friendly invitation. Try the 7-day micro-declaration challenge. For 7 days, post one line each morning that captures your daily decision. Keep it short. No explanation. Use a simple hashtag you invent. Something like #MyNextLine, then tag one friend. The point isn't to win likes. The point is to make your field visible and to normalize small daily coherence acts. Tiny public consistency beats rare grand gestures. 2 closing cautions. First, beware of spiritual bypassing, claiming I'm awakened while avoiding real integration work. True breakthrough requires honest examination of the wounds you still carry and the messy work of changing day-to-day habits. Second, practice fierce compassion with yourself. You will wobble. Integration is not a one-time event. It's a lifetime course-correcting practice. And finally, here's a short audio-visual prompt for this moment. Pause the video for 30 seconds. Close your eyes. Feel one area in your life where dissolution is happening. Name it silently. Then breathe and say one clear present tense sentence that captures the direction you feel called to. When you're ready, type that sentence in the comments now. Make it short. Make it honest. Make it your visible signature. Remember, your single aligned choice today isn't small. It's a vector that pulls an entire possibility landscape. You don't have to make it honest. Make it your visible signature. Remember, your single aligned choice today isn't small. It's a vector that pulls an entire possibility landscape. You don't have to know every step. You only have to be faithful to the direction you're choosing. Small, consistent fidelity becomes the architecture of your new life. You're arriving at the level where breakthrough becomes accountable, not as burden, but as power. This section is about the practices that hold transformation steady when the initial rush fades. It's about doing the small, often boring things that make the extraordinary sustainable. Because anyone can have a revelation. Far fewer build a life that can hold it. First, radical honesty. This is not dramatic confession for its own sake. Radical honesty is a daily commitment to see where you're still playing small and to tell the truth about it, to yourself and, when appropriate, to others. It sounds simple. I am avoiding X. I am scared to ask for Y. I still believe Z about myself. Say it plainly without layering it in self-judgment. Notice how quickly clarity replaces self-blame. Honesty reduces the energy leaks that sabotage coherence. Second, micro-accountability loops. Transformation doesn't thrive on one-time heroics. It needs repeated tiny confirmations that you can trust yourself. Pick one micro-commitment for the next 21 days, something so small you can't plausibly excuse it away. Examples. Write one sentence toward your project each morning. Take a 10-minute walk to reset. Send one honest message to someone you care about. Track it publicly or privately, but report it. The act of returning to a small promise rebuilds your nervous system's capacity to hold larger promises. Third, recalibrate rewards. Most systems collapse because they reward old behavior. Your environment, friends, feeds, calendars, is wired to reinforce short-term comfort. Change what you celebrate. Celebrate boundary setting, not just arrival. Celebrate small, consistent actions, not just dramatic wins. When you change the reward loop, your future choices align with your intended identity. Fourth, check your language daily. Language is a frequency tool. Replace future conditional phrases with present tense commitments. Swap "I will try" for "I will do." Replace "I wish" with "I choose." These small shifts collapse excuses and invite the field to respond. Fifth, build a minimal ritual that signals alignment. Rituals don't need incense and altars. They need specificity and repetition. Example ritual. Every morning, stand by a window, breathe 3 slow cycles, say one sentence that states your direction, and write one line in a tiny notebook. That 3-minute sequence becomes a nervous system anchor. Over time, the ritual becomes a micro-bridge between intention and action. Sixth, practice serving through being. You don't need a 5-year plan to serve the world. Serve by showing up Serve by modeling boundaries and courage. Serve by being honest when you're uncertain. When your presence stabilizes others, that is contribution. This reduces the pressure to have every plan tidy before you take action. Now, let's address shadow integration, the part spiritual content often avoids. Shadow integration is the work of bringing repressed parts into conscious use. It's not glamorous. It's the practical discipline of naming the automatic reactions that still steer you and choosing new responses. When someone triggers you, pause and ask, what belief did that action land on? Which old story lit up? Don't fix it externally. Name it internally. Then choose a coherent response that aligns with your new frequency. This is how you stop being a reactor and become a regulator. Next, the social audit. Not a purge, but an inventory. List the 5 people you spend the most time. Which of them amplify your clarity? Which of them normalize your smallness? You don't have to cut people off dramatically. Start with boundary experiments. Shorten time with the ones who drain. Increase time with the ones who energize. Invite one person into a conversation about growth. Ask them if they're willing to hold you accountable for one micro-commitment. Community shifts probability. You don't need many allies. You need the right ones. A brief tactical protocol for encountering resistance. 1. Name the resistance in one sentence. 2. Locate it physically in the body. 3. Pick one micro-action that contradicts the resistance and do it immediately. 4. Report the result to yourself or someone you trust. Repeat. This protocol interrupts the spiral of self-reinforcement that keeps old patterns alive. Let's add a practical creativity hack for when you're in the void. Constraint creates emergence. If you're waiting for inspiration, give yourself a tiny constraint. Write for 10 minutes with a timer using one single prompt, or create with 2 materials only. Constraints force your nervous system to produce, and production collapses the void into form. The void is fertile. It simply needs directional pressure. For social virality, because ideas spread when they're simple and replicable, here's a micro-challenge designed to be contagious and meaningful. The one-word anchor. For 7 days, choose one word that captures the frequency you want to embody. Courage, clear, open, boundary, create. Each morning, post that word with one sentence about a small aligned action you took. Tag one friend and invite them to do the same. Keep it raw and ordinary. The simplicity makes it viral, short, repeatable, human. It creates a visible field of people practicing coherence together. Now, a direct prompt. If you can, type your one-word anchor in the comments right now. One word is an energetic signal that others can resonate with instantly. Final structural insight. Your life is a portfolio of experiments, not a single audition. Treat decisions as experiments that produce data. If a choice yields coherence, increase exposure. If it yields erosion, choose variation. This scientific stance reduces existential pressure and makes iteration joyful instead of terrifying. Remember humility. The field supports sincere effort more than polished identity. Perfectionism is a camouflage that keeps you static. Vulnerability, practiced consistently, rewires your world far faster than image management. So, choose bravery over bravado, presence over performance. Close with this. Your next right thing is likely smaller than you imagine, but more powerful than you fear. Do it. Report back. Repeat. Over weeks, months, years, these tiny fidelity acts accumulate into a reality that matches the person you've been training to become. Ersin, Type 1. Honest micro-commitment you will keep this week. 5 words or less. Make it simple. Own it. Then do it. You're now moving into the refinement phase, where breakthrough becomes craft. What separates those who briefly touch transformation from those who live it daily is simple. Systems that protect the new frequency. This section is about designing your environment, calibrating your decisions, and setting up feedback loops that make your evolution inevitable. Start with energetic hygiene. Think of your attention like a phone battery. Everything you focus on either drains it or charges it. Protect it. Replace one habitual energy drain with one tiny charging habit this week. Examples: swap 15 minutes of doom scrolling for a 15-minute creative sprint. Replace a draining conversation with a 5-minute silence that centers you. Trade a critical thought for one sentence of gratitude. These are microcharges that accumulate. Don't underestimate. Decision architecture is the next level of leverage. Your future self will thank you for making hard choices easier today. Remove decision friction for the most important domains: creativity, rest, and relationship boundaries. Pre-commit to a tiny guardrail. Write one rule that reduces willpower use. Example rules: I will write from 8 to 8:30 a.m. daily, or I won't check email before lunch. These rules free your bandwidth for aligned action. When you minimize small decisions, you create space for the big ones to be clear and bold. Feedback loops are your calibration instruments. Pick 3 signals that tell you whether you're coherent: energy levels, quality of sleep, and the clarity of your next action. Log them for 2 weeks in a simple note. Each morning, answer: energy, high/medium/low. Sleep, rested/okay/tired. Next action, clear, uncertain. Pattern. Recognition is your competence accelerator. Over time, you'll see which behaviors increase coherence and which drain it. Now, let's upgrade your language of commitment. Replace vague intentions with binary experiments. Instead of, I'll try to be more present, say, I will pause before I answer. Instead of, I want to create more, say, I will produce one 200-word draft tonight. Small, testable statements produce data. The field responds to data because data reduces ambiguity. Ambiguity is energy leakage. Clarity is attraction. Handling setbacks becomes a performance skill. When coherence slips, use the reset minimization sequence. Reset, 3 deep breaths and a body check. Minimize, reduce input. Close tabs, mute notifications, walk outside for 3 minutes. Reframe, name one small success from the last 24 hours. These 3 steps stop catastrophizing and restore momentum. Practice them until they are reflexive. A crucial maturity move is to commit to one public accountability structure. This can be as small as a weekly 2-line email to one person describing your progress, or a private message in a group that contains one micro-commitment and one result. Accountability externalizes your fidelity and increases the field resonance around your intention. People underestimate how much visible consistency shifts probability. Next, create a coherence buffer. This is a predictable, non-negotiable margin in your life. Time, money, or attention reserved solely for your evolution. It's not extravagant, it's strategic. Examples: 1 hour per week reserved for reading that expands you, $20 per month set aside for classes or coaching, or 1 evening a week as a digital Sabbath. The buffer gives you permission to grow without immediate ROI pressure. Growth needs margin to breathe. Now, a short viral-ready experiment that spreads alignment through simplicity. The 2-sentence share. In your next post or DM, write 2 sentences. One about a small aligned action you took, truthful, specific, and one invitation. Who wants to try this for 3 days? Tag one person. That tiny ask creates accountability, invites reciprocity, and normalizes low-ego public practice. Simplicity invites participation. Complexity blocks it. Let's talk about boundaries as love. Boundaries are not punishments for others. They are acts of respect for your capacity. Practice one boundary this week and treat it like a kindness to yourself. Examples: shorter meetings, a 5-minute buffer between calls, or declining one request that dilutes your focus. Notice how setting a boundary often improves the relationship because clarity reduces friction. People prefer honest limits to passive resentment. You'll also need an integration routine for times of intense expansion. When opportunities accelerate, you can easily get pulled into reactivity. Use a 3-step integration routine. After any major change or win, pause and record. Write a 1-paragraph reflection within 24 hours about what changed and what felt different. Ground. Do a 10-minute movement or breathing session to settle nervous energy. Align. Identify one practical boundary or habit that will help this gain stick. These steps convert peaks into stable platforms rather than transient highs. A powerful reframing. Think of your transformation as both interior and infrastructural. Interior work is the alignment of beliefs, emotions, and attention. Infrastructural work is the intentional shaping of your life systems. The playlists you listen to, the people you meet, the books you read, the calendar you keep. Don't neglect infrastructure. It's the scaffolding that holds your new frequency. Measurement matters, not obsession, but notice. At the end of each week, answer 2 questions. Where did I increase coherence? And where did I give it away? Keep answers short. These weekly notes are your longitudinal data set. Over months, they tell the real story of change. A quick prompt you can use right now aloud or in the comments. Name one small system you will add this week to support your coherence. Keep it tiny. Example: 5-minute morning breathing, or no screens after 9 p.m. Say it, commit, do it. Before we move on, compassion is non-negotiable. The more you evolve, the more you'll notice your shadow. This is not failure, it's information. Treat each shadow encounter like a clue to an upgrade. Ask, what capability is this shadow asking me to develop? Then choose one micro-practice that builds that capability. Integration is the grind of gentleness. Finally, remember why this matters beyond you. Your coherence stabilizes others. The small systems you create ripple outward. Every habit you change adjusts the field for someone else. That's the understated brilliance of mature transformation. It's efficient. It multiplies rather than exhausts. It asks less of you in spectacle and more of you in consistency. Make one modest system choice now. Say it out loud. Then return to your day and execute it. The new life isn't designed in one glorious act. It's engineered by repeated, humble fidelity. You've climbed past discovery and into stewardship. This section is about mastery, not mastery as endless hustle, but mastery as steady stewardship of the field you now influence. It's the difference between a bright phase and a life that can hold light without burning out. If you want your breakthrough to mature into legacy, there are specific disciplines that make it durable and generative. First, scale by simplicity. When your practice becomes more complex than your life, it collapses. The most powerful systems are tiny and repeatable. Choose one daily anchor and one weekly ritual. Your daily anchor could be a 2-minute alignment practice at noon. Breathe, name your frequency, take one clarifying action. Your weekly ritual could be a 30-minute review where you note 3 small wins and 1 next step. Small consistency scales farther than sporadic intensity. Second, teach what you struggle to hold. One of the fastest ways to deepen competence is to explain it. Teaching forces clarity. When you try to simplify your process for someone else, you reveal the gaps in your own practice and close them. This doesn't mean launching a course. It could be a 5-minute voice memo to a friend about a breakthrough tactic you used that week, or a short post that names one micro habit that changed your month. Teaching is both service and consolidation. Third, curate your inputs like a library, not a flood. The quality of your attention determines everything. Choose 3 sources that elevate your thinking and remove 10 that distract. This might mean unsubscribing, muting, or pruning social follows. A lean input diet creates cognitive space for novelty and alignment to emerge. You want a stream that nudges you forward, not a torrent that drowns your clarity. Fourth, ritualize regeneration. Growth without regeneration is brittle. Build a non-negotiable recovery routine. Sleep rules, digital Sabbath, nature time, creative play. Regeneration is not self-indulgence. It's strategic maintenance. Treat it like training that allows you to show up sustainably. When your pace increases, your recovery must scale too. Fifth, deepen relational resonance. Influence is relational before it's broadcast. Pick 2 people this quarter to invest in with curiosity and service. Ask what they need, listen without solving, and offer a small, practical support that advances their day. These investments aren't transactional. They create mutual scaffolding. When you elevate a few people, you create a local field that amplifies the whole system. Sixth, commit to the clarity ledger. For 1 month, keep a simple clarity ledger each night. 2 lines, where did I choose alignment, and where did I compromise? Don't edit for story. Keep it factual. This ledger becomes a mirror. It reveals recurring compromises and, more importantly, shows the cumulative power of everyday fidelity. Now, let's address 4 advanced pitfalls so you avoid common leadership traps. Narcissistic elevation. When influence grows, ego can trick you into believing your role is to be followed rather than to serve. Counter this by scheduling 1 humility practice per week, a conversation where you ask for feedback and listen without defending. Over-responsibility. You'll feel tempted to fix others' trajectories. Remember, your obligation is to model coherence, not to carry someone else's outcome. Practice fierce compassion. Hold presence without rescue. Perfection drift. As standards rise, the fear of imperfection can stop output. Apply a ship small rule. Release imperfect work weekly. Visibility stabilizes growth more than hidden pause. Spiritual opacity. Don't confuse language for integration. High-sounding claims without grounded change create field noise. Test your coherence in small, measurable behaviors. Follow through, boundaries, financial integrity, and consistent presence. For virality that matters, make it replicable and honest. Create a micro-series that people can imitate in 1 minute. Example, the 1-minute coherence check. Record a short clip showing how you do it, then challenge viewers to post their own and tag 3 friends. Simplicity plus replicability increases spread. Keep format consistent so it becomes mimetic. Same intro line, same action, same tag, repeat. Viral movement equals repeatable ritual plus public witness. Next, mentorship as multiplicative leverage. A small mentor relationship, 30 minutes a month, can redirect your trajectory more than dozens of books. Seek someone who's 3 to 5 years ahead in the exact terrain you're navigating. Ask for 1 actionable habit to implement and 1 accountability metric to report back on. Mentorship compresses learning and reduces waste. Now, a practical infrastructure habit for legacy thinking. Begin a future file. Each week, drop one small artifact into it. A short voice memo about a decision you made and why. A photo that captured a turning point. A snippet of code or creative idea. A 2-line note on someone you helped. Over time, these artifacts become a living map, evidence of growth, and a generative archive for the people who follow you. Here's a powerful social prompt to build community and momentum. Start a weekly 3-line email to 5 people who energize you. Line 1, one micro commitment you held this week. Line 2, one small way you helped someone. Line 3, one request where you could use a hand. Keep it real, short, unpolished. Reciprocity compounds. Tag one person when you start it and invite them to join the loop. A quick method for sustaining creative output. The 2-2-2 rule. Each month, produce 2 short public pieces. Posts, videos, voice notes. 2 private experimental pieces, drafts, sketches, prototypes. And 2 conversations with someone who disagrees with you. This triad keeps you visible, innovative, and resiliently honest. Finally, think in terms of seasons, not panic. Growth comes in seasons. The seed time of disruption, the long day of work, and the harvest of integration. Honor each season. Plant now, tend patiently, harvest gratefully. The garden you're cultivating is communal. The nourishment you grow will feed those who come after you. For your moment of action, type the one small public ritual you will start this week. 2 words or a short sentence. Make it visible. Tag one friend to try it with you. This tiny public step is how legacy begins. Small, ordinary, deliberate. You've arrived at the closing chapter of this transmission, not to wrap everything up neatly, but to hand you a compact, actionable map for the next phase. This section is your operational playbook. What to do in the next 48 hours, the next 21 days, and the next 3 months to make your breakthrough stick and to give it the momentum to ripple outward. First, in the next 48 hours. Do a 1-question audit. Where is my energy leaking? Say it aloud in 1 sentence. Do 1 small aligned action within an hour of finishing this video. It can be a 5-minute voice memo, a single paragraph, a short text to someone you respect, or a boundary you actually say. Action converts possibility into probability. Post 1 public microsignal, 1 word, 1 sentence, or 1 small image that represents the frequency you're choosing. Use a hashtag you invent. Tag 1 friend. Visibility seeds momentum. Second, the next 21 days. This is your minimum viable transformation cycle. Choose 1 micro commitment you can keep daily for 21 days. Make it tiny and non-negotiable. 1 sentence written, 5 minutes of movement, a 3-minute alignment at noon. The promise must be easy to start and difficult to rationalize away. Track it publicly or in a tiny notebook. Do the 5-minute frequency check every morning. It's simple. Breathe, name the frequency, choose 1 micro action, repeat. Once per week, publish a 2-sentence share. 1 sentence about an aligned action you took. 1 sentence inviting someone to try it. Tag 1 person. Keep it unpolished. Keep it honest. Third, the next 3 months, building infrastructure. Create a coherence buffer. Pick 1 hour weekly that is sacred for integration, reading, creating, reflecting. Protect it like a meeting with your future self. Start the clarity ledger. Nightly, 2 lines. Where did I choose alignment? Where did I compromise? No commentary, just facts. Over 3 months, these lines become your map. Invite a peer into a monthly accountability exchange. 1 micro commitment, 1 result, 1 request. Reciprocity is the engine of continued growth. Now, a few closing principles to hold while you do the work. Smallness compounds. The world changes through repeated tiny acts, not sudden perfection. Pick tiny things that build identity, then repeat them until they become the weather of your life. Visibility accelerates probability. Public witness doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be consistent. The field recognizes repeated signals more than spectacular one-offs. Compassion is the catalytic agent. Be ruthless about boundaries and tender about mistakes. When you realign quickly and kindly, you shorten the learning curve and deepen trust with yourself. Discernment preserves momentum. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Learn to test. Does this increase coherence or erode it? Use that simple metric. Legacy equals service by your breakthrough matters because it expands what's possible for others. When you hold a higher frequency, you enlarge the collective field. To make this practical and shareable, here are 3 replicable, viral-ready moves you can execute right now. A. The one-word anchor daily. Pick one word each week that captures your frequency. Post it once each morning with one line about a tiny aligned action. Invite one friend. Keep it embarrassingly simple. B. The 1-minute coherence check. Repeatable. Record a 1-minute clip showing your 3-step reset. Breathe, name the frequency, take one micro action. Ask people to post theirs and tag 2 friends. Consistent formats are contagious. C. The 21-day micro-commitment chain. Start your micro-commitment, tag one person, and ask them to tag another. The chain doesn't require permission, only honesty. Real practice beats curated identity every time. A few practical traps to avoid. Don't fetishize intense bursts without infrastructure burnout. Build the margin first. Don't confuse visibility with mastery. Show your work and keep doing the work. The field rewards both. Don't spiritual bypass. Integration means doing the messy parts with humility and real-world habits. Before we close, here's a brief embodiment exercise. Do it now. Close your eyes for 20 seconds. Breathe in for 4 counts, out for 4 counts. Think of one area where dissolution is happening. Name it silently. Choose one tiny aligned action you can take in the next hour to signal directionality. Say it aloud. If you're willing, post that action as a 1-line public micro signal with the hashtag #YouInvented. Tag one friend. Finally, an invitation that matters. If this landed, do one visible thing to anchor it. Type a single word in the comments that captures the frequency you're choosing right now. Or post a 1-minute clip of your 1-minute coherence check and tag 2 people. Make it ordinary. Make it repetitive. Make it true. Your breakthrough is not an eventuality to be waited for. It is a series of present tense choices you make repeatedly until the field rearranges to match. You've been trained, tested, and prepared. Now your practice is simple. Notice, choose, act, repeat. Over time, those small fidelities compound into the extraordinary life you were born to hold. Go take your small step. The field is listening. Now your practice is simple. Notice, choose, act, repeat. Over time, those small fidelities compound into the extraordinary life you were born to hold. Go take your small step. The field is listening.